Well, talking about Trump, not everything he did was bad. He was the first president since Jimmy Carter to not lead the U.S. into a new foreign war during his administration, and probably had one of the smallest hand circumferences of any modern president. I mean, I don't have the facts of how big his hands are. I just assume that he had the smallest hands of all the presidents. But let's talk about the inauguration of the 46th president of the United States, Joseph Robin Biden. Most of the nation's capital were nervous before the inauguration, with many credible threats of violence by right-wing extremists and QAnon supporters who believed Trump would declare martial law and be sworn in for a second term. In response to this, 25,000 National Guard troops were called up to protect the area around the Capitol. Over 200,000 flags adorned the grass on the Washington Mall, because something insurrectionists don't do is step on Old Glory. It's like kryptonite for the right. Desecrating the flag is like the worst thing someone can do, or even kneeling during a flag ceremony is super un-American. However, you can still wear American flag hats, American flag underwear, American flag bathing suits, bath towels, sunglasses, whatever. If it sells, you can buy it, but don't step on the American flag. The good news, however, is that democracy has been preserved. There was no violence on Wednesday. The country committed to a peaceful transfer of power. And of course, Donnie T didn't show up to the inauguration, a tradition respected by all but 5 other presidents in history. But instead, like every other New York grandparent, he took an early flight to Florida. Inauguration Day activities are traditionally reserved for the incoming president, but Trump decided to organize a farewell ceremony for himself for when he departed at 8 a.m. Wednesday morning. Staffers said that planning this event was one of the only things that made him happy. The only problem is that he wasn't too popular in his final days, so he even sent out invitations to his followers and told them to bring up to 5 people to his goodbye ceremony. The last time I did that when I was uncool in middle school. He left the White House in the early morning instead of receiving the president-elect, and arrived to the local Air Force base with a playlist of songs such as YMCA, Macho Man. Hey, are you a macho man, Donnie? Are you a macho man? And the most striking of the songs that he played, My Way by Frank Sinatra, as he boarded Air Force One for his final trip as president. And that's just hilarious, because if a narcissist is the dictator of Narcissist Island, where he gets to the Narcissist Island on the SS Narcissist, where he lives in the capital of Ciudad Narcisisto, the national hymn of Narcissist Island would probably be My Way by Frank Sinatra. And here's a lesson for all of us. Narcissists, even though they're charming, they make you feel great, they're always so popular, they look confident. At the end, they always lose and end up sad and alone. Hence, +5 on his invitation, and not that many people showed up, including his former best friend, the Vice President of the United States. And so, if you think he's going to have a good time in Florida, think again. He's got a number of civil and criminal lawsuits to deal with, as well as an impeachment trial where he could possibly end up being the only U.S. president in history to be convicted of treason in the very country he led. Deutsche Bank, one of the largest lenders to the Trumps, as well as other companies, are terminating their work with him. His hometown of New York City canceled all of their contracts with the Trump Organization, including 2 ice skating rinks and a golf course. For all of you that want him to suffer, trust me, he's got a lot of problems on his plate. And for all of you that feel bad for him, you're feeling the magic of a narcissist at work. Oh, and by the way, Frank Sinatra is on the record that he hated Trump's guts. But let's go back to Biden and talk about his speech, which was uplifting and something Trump would have made only if he was forced to eat cueritos at a Pumas game. I came to Mexico a Pumas fan, but after cueritos and yellow showers in the lower level, it tested my strength of my Goya. Now, Biden didn't mention Trump in his speech, but he definitely took on themes of the past 4 years and spoke about healing and coming together.
We've learned again that democracy is precious. Democracy is fragile. And at this hour, my friends, democracy has prevailed.
Democracy has prevailed, one of the most important words of his speech. He also talked about defending truth and defeating lies, to listen and show respect.
To restore the soul and secure the future of America requires so much more than words. It requires the most elusive of all things in a democracy: unity. Unity.
Really strong messages about unity, about bringing people together. Also, he made a shout out to the cast of Acapulco Shore during his inauguration speech, demonstrating Mexico's values. And wait, that didn't happen. Hector, did you put that one in? Hector, good thing that didn't happen. He's a big fan of the show, right? Thanks, Hector. He said that he'd be the president of all people and that united was the only way to beat things like climate change, systemic racism, and the pandemic. It was also a festive environment with performances by Lady Gaga, who wowed the crowd with her voice and her very big dress.
And please welcome Lady Gaga.
That's an entrance, but that's Lady Gaga. Although I was hoping she'd show up in another meat suit to promote, I don't know, meat restaurants. Wink, wink. And J-Lo looking fantastic as usual and actually added a little español into it.
Una nación bajo Dios, indivisible, con libertad y justicia para todos. Let's get loud.
Joe was falling asleep a little bit. Woke him up with that one. And the ceremony concluded with stunningly moving poetry by 23-year-old young poet laureate Amanda Gorman.
For there was always light if only we're brave enough to see it, if only we're brave enough to be it.
What a beautiful words from Amanda Gorman. If you have a chance, watch it if you haven't seen it yet. But the whole thing was joyous, safe, and it was a meaningful occasion at the Capitol yesterday that was much different from the insurrection in the same building just 2 weeks before.